Good evening, tubers. White Mexican back in for another video. I'm actually shooting this video from one of the Navy hotels on Kadena Air Base in Okinawa. Tomorrow I will be shipping off to my Army BCT training, so I'm going to be out of commission for several months, locked up in the military system there doing that. So for those of you who don't know, I was active duty Air Force stationed in Japan, and I did an inter-service transfer to the U.S. Army for the active duty component. So I'm pretty excited about that. And again, I apologize that I haven't made a video in the last couple weeks. It's just this transition has been very, very time consuming. So I'm ready to push on to the next chapter of my military career. But without further ado, I wanted to just do a quick scoop for you guys of some cards that I've just been kind of thinking about the last couple days. And the first card we're going to start with is Malay of the Trees. This is dawning from Shadow Specters. It is a secret rare. There was one other print from the Megatins, one of the Megatins. Of course, you're always going to want to go for the original prints, near mint, lightly played first editions, and they're going for about 2 bones. You can see, unfortunately, there's a lot of just one-ofs here. There's 3, 4 first editions here around the $2 range. So for 2 bones, I think this card's pretty cool. It has a dual effect, so both effects are pretty solid. And I've always kind of been a fan of plant synchros and just kind of plant archetypes in general. Really miss the good old days of plant synchros back in 2011, 2012 era. But this card is just all around, I think, a very diverse card. It's pretty cool. Pretty generic for the 2 level 3 Earth monsters as well. Just an all-around awesome plants card. So for 2 bones, I think that this is a pretty solid pickup. And also, Shadow Spectre is getting pretty old now. Next card is going to be a collector's card, Vampire Lord, the original print from Dark Crisis. This is from a Generation 1 set here. I just love the artwork on this card. Back in the day, this was a really OP card. It's completely watered down now. It's really not anything to really be reckoned with nowadays in current meta by any stance. So it's not really a playable card. But all around, it is a Generation 1 secret rare. And back in the day, there was only 2 secret rares per core booster set, and these were the highest rarity cards back then. And it just has fantastic artwork. This definitely is, I say I like a lot of artworks on cards, but this specifically is probably definitely like my top 10, top 20. I really, really enjoy the coloring, and just the artwork is just so beautiful in this card. I really like it a lot. I really like zombies too, and I would really like to try to find an actual competitive build to put this in, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon, at least not without any new support that comes out specifically for vampire stuff here. But we're going to take a look here. Again, you're going to want to go for lightly played or near mints, more so near mints for collectability, but it's really hard to get. For such an old card like this, it's going to be about $15 for the first edition's lightly played, and then it moves up to about almost 20 and then 23. There's only 2 pages left of this, and already on the bottom pages here, it jumps all the way down to $85 to $77 for the near mint towards the bottom there. So what a difference if you can just see the lightly played, it's going for 15, and then the near mints go from 15 all the way up to $78, which is a really giant gap in price. But all around, everyone knew, I think for the most part, that this was going to be a collector's card. It was just had a giant prowess back in the day, and Dark Crisis is just a really cool old school Generation 1 set. And again, artwork is really killer, and there's a lot of awesome zombie players out there. So next card is going to be Lava Golem. So not like this card does have potential meta play. I know a lot of people use the raw spirit mode card and the kaijus. That's all good and great. This card does have a downside because you can't normal summon the turn you special summon to your opponent. It does do the 1000 burn. It did give a 3k beater to your opponent, but I'm kind of mixed about this card for 2 reasons. One, I think it's a collector's card because, again, it's one of the 2 secret rares from Pharaonic Guardian, original Generation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! For collectability wise. And there is a super rare dual terminal version that is a really nice version of this as well. It's going for a pretty good amount of money, but I would put my money on this one. The original print first edition secret rares dawning from Pharaonic Guardian are definitely the superior versions in my personal opinion. Now, so with this card being a hand trap that can pick off 2 of your opponent's monsters, and potentially do some burn damage. It's a really great card, and some people side this, some people even use this in current day meta. And again, its artwork is amazing, old school secret rare, and just because of its history value, I think, plus it's kind of borderline meta play, it's just an all-around good card to have in general. And let's take a look at the prices here. Again, near mint, lightly played. There isn't a single first edition on the first page. Let's see if we can get some first pages here. Apologize, the internet is running extremely slow here for some reason. I don't know why. It's going to show me. All right, so no first editions on the third page. We're going to go ahead and check the third page. All right, so we get our first edition lightly played for about $17, $18, and it quickly goes to 18, 18, and then there's only one page after that. So it's about $18 for first editions now. And remember, for a while, not too long ago, I was picking up a lot of these one-ups for about $5 for lightly played first editions. So it's almost tripled in value since then. And again, this is definitely, I definitely see this card moving into the collector's market value. And with the potential side decking play, this is always kind of an option that's going to be around. So I think this is a card definitely to take a look at. Next card is going to be Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. Again, I know in my last video I mentioned, in several of my videos I mentioned, with the dawning of Dual Devastator on the horizon and all of the Ghost Girls being reprinted, their prices are going to decrease slightly. It's my personal opinion on the matter, and all of the original print secret rares are always going to be collector's cards. With the changing of the metas, the different Ghost Girls are, they come in and out of the meta, but never forget that these are really popular cards. They have really amazing artwork, and they're always going to be collector's cards. And you really want to make sure you have at least a playset of all the Ghost Girls original print secret rare first edition, because as these sets get older, they're just going to become more and more expensive and more valuable as collector's cards. And then on top of that, they have playability in the different metas as the game changes. So I think that's just two factors that you can never really go wrong with. And again, so let's take a look at this card really quick. Let's see if we can find a first edition. I'm going to reload the page. I apologize for the delay. It's just that I made these tabs a couple hours ago, and I don't know if things are going to be changing. I'm going to go ahead and do that with actually all these cards here. Alright, and today I'm only specifically going to be showcasing Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood and Ghost Ball and Haunted Mansion, because they're the ones that are kind of the price point is, these are the ones I'm focusing on, with Ghost Sister only having one print so far, and the second print being Dual Devastator. Ghost Bell got the reprint in Dual Power, so that one is still going to be going down, but they're going down. They're not quite at the prices that I want them at quite. So go ahead, and starting with Ghost Sister here, we see our first edition for about $9.50. And then it goes to, again, just $9.50. So it's sitting at about $9.50. Again, these are for first edition near mints. This is, I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty good price point. I think when I originally got the idea of going in investing into these cards shortly after Dual Devastator, unfortunately, because of my training, it's actually going to be several months since I'm going to have the opportunity to purchase these, so I might kind of miss the ball on the little decrease in these, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens in November when I get out of my training. I'm really curious to see where these cards are sitting at for original prints. So $10 is pretty good for this. I would really like to pick these up for like 5s or 7s. I think $5 for a first edition that lightly played is kind of ambitious. I don't really know if it'll ever come down to that point. But Winter Cherries, Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries is already, you can get the original Shining Victories, first editions, lightly played, near mint, for $5. So who knows, this card may go down eventually to the $5 range. With I'm probably say at the very lowest, like an all-time low, would probably be $5. But all around, I think about $7-8 is a really solid point for this card, and I definitely would feel comfortable picking this card up around 7 or 8s. As far as Ghost Bell, Ghost Bell is a little bit more powerful, a little bit more diversity with this card depending on the situation. Again, all the artwork is super amazing on these cards. So they're always going to have that factor for collectability value. But Ghost Bell is just a little more diverse, and it's kind of a little bit easier to slide into different various decks and stuff depending on how you want to play. And it's sitting at about $13 to $12-ish here. We can see. So again, this still has room. This still has room to decrease. Again, with Dual Devastator, this will be the second reprint, so there'll be a total of 3 prints of this card. So it'll definitely have a little downtick in price, which is pretty good, because at the $12 range, I know this card used to be like $30, $40. It used to be really expensive, and even now it's like way cheaper now. We can see it here for $15. But I would say for this card, probably around 10. A 10 is a good card for first edition, lightly played at at the least. I think 10 is a really good time to go in and get these. Next card is going to be Witch's Strike. Now, I know a lot of players are kind of mixed on this card. I'm personally on the side that I still think this card is really great, even though it isn't a counter trap. It's just a completely blowout card. Kind of reminds me of like Evenly Matched. When Evenly Matched first came out, people were kind of hesitant to use that card. But when you get that card off, it's just such a blowout card and just completely flips the game around. Right now, I'm not going to lie, it is a little expensive. It used to be like a little bit cheaper. I think it was like around the $2-3 point. It's been going up very slightly, if I'm remembering correctly. It's about $5 right now for first editions. Again, you're going to want to go for at least lightly played near mint first editions, all that jazz. And it's about $4 or $5 right now. Plenty on the market, so it's not really too much of a big deal. I personally went in on these when they hit 8s. I think around $8 or $9 is when I bought actually 3 playsets. I bought 9 copies of this, actually by accident. I meant to only get a playset, but I have 9 copies of these now, and it's just an awesome card. I really like this card, and I think it does have potential for growth. Again, as of right now, Savage Strike, it's just a solo print, secret rare, and I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, this missed the I don't know if Savage Strike was Savage Strike covered in the Megatins. I can't remember if it was or not. I know Soul Fusion was, but this came out after Soul Fusion, so I can't remember if this falls in the time span to be targeted for. But anyway, we know it's not in the Megatins, so that's it is what it is. So I think this card is. I think if you can get this for 3s, I think 3 is probably the ideal. Right now it's 5s. You guys can trade for about 3-4 value. I definitely think it'd be worthwhile to have at least a playset of this card. Next card is going to be Kaiko the Ghost Destroyer. Now, there was a secret rare reprint that came in one of the legendary collections, which is pretty cool. It's about 2 bones or so. But I want to talk specifically about the original print Generation 1 Labyrinth of Nightmare Super Rare. So, without a doubt, anything within the first, I think, for me, what I consider Generation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Rise of Destiny, and anything earlier than Rise of Destiny. Everything that had Yugi Moto on the booster pack cover is like Generation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! To me. And with this just being such an old set, anything first edition from any of those first sets are going to be worth a lot of money. This card, I think its effect is underlooked. It has 2 effects, so you can remove cards, which I think was changed, because I think back in the day, I could have swore this said you could remove like any cards, like magic or traps, but it is, I don't know if it was changed or not, but it's only monsters, but it's still pretty good. But the second effect right here is the more impressive. As long as it remains face up, your opponent can't remove cards from either graveyard from play. I think that's a really powerful and underlooked side effect, an additional effect that Kaiko has. His stats is great. He's a level 4. He's an 1800 attack. He's a dark. He's a spellcaster. So just that alone is a really good influx of it's very splashable, and it's just a really old card. And for what it is, I still think that this card holds up with its dual effect and its stats, and it just being an old school first edition, super rare. I'm sorry. And potentially even probably, obviously it's not really seeing play, so it must be the market value or the collector's value, because you can see the unlimiteds aren't worth anything. But if we go through here and if we get to the first editions, and for the longest time this card was not expensive at all. I picked up these like all day for $2-3 for many years, sporadically, just because I really like this card. I think his effect is really underrated, and again, it's slowly falling and sliding in, transitioning into the collector's market, as well as all the Generation 1 first edition cards. And we see here, there's a first edition here. This last first edition is about $8 or $7. It's about $7-8 right here. And then if we look at this jump. This from this $8 that we played to the near mints, it goes to 30. So I just think that's very interesting. There's only 3 first editions left on the market, and as soon as this is gone, it goes straight to 30. And I just thought that was very interesting. I've been watching this card for quite a while and buying it very cheap for several years now, like well under $30. Like, again, I don't think I've ever paid more than about $3 for the first edition's original print Kaikus. And I just thought that was very interesting. So if you guys have first edition Kaikus, congratulations, because this is the point where they are definitely going into collector's market and maintaining that high value. Last thing I wanted to review really quickly was Magic Ruler. So Magic Ruler is one of my all-time favorite Generation 1 core sets. And anything first edition from sets this old is worth money nowadays, and just going to continue to be and slide more into the collector's value and be worth collector's market value. More specifically, Toon World. So I'm not going to go through all these right now, like in detail, because the internet is running really slow right now here in this hotel, and it would just take kind of forever to dip into everything. But the last time I checked, which was probably on yesterday, there was a lightly played Toon World. The cheapest one I could find was about like $7 range. It was like $8 range. And I'm still not really comfortable, even though I know it's going to go up. It's really old, and that, it's an awesome artwork, and it's a collector's card, and Toon World and Pegasus and all that great stuff. I just wasn't comfortable with paying the $8 for a lightly played first edition. I definitely see this card moving up to about 15 to 20 very soon, especially with the limited market of the first editions. But I didn't want to pay $8 for that, because I already have a couple first edition copies myself, and it didn't really, at the time, I invested in other cards, which I'll show you here. So there was first edition lightly playeds, and actually, I'm sorry, near mint. I picked up 2 of these for $5. You guys might want to check to see if there's any more first editions lightly played or near mint around the $5 range. Of course, everyone knows this card is banned, but I think it's just fantastic. For 5 bones to have a first edition originally print giant Tornado in 2019, I think that's pretty incredible. And I would highly recommend that you guys get at least 1 copy, because definitely this is the best version of first edition original print giant Tornado for this blowout card. Even if it gets errated, even if it comes back, whatever it may be, this is just, it has a really big stamp in Yu-Gi-Oh history. It's a blowout card, and you're going to want to get your first editions. And if you can get them for 5 bones or under, I think that's a fantastic price. Painful Choice. I was picking up these for about $4-ish, $3 for the first editions lightly played. Again, awesome artwork, a banned card. One of the most powerful Magic cards ever. You get a dump 5. It's just completely ridiculous. I am an avid fan of everything coming off the ban list eventually. If this card ever does, I'm almost sure 100% it'll get errated, because it's just too ridiculously OP. But again, banned collector's card, original print, has the Magic stamp and everything, because this is, I'm looking specifically at Magic Ruler. My personal preference is Magic Ruler over Spell Ruler. I like the old names, Magic cards over Spell cards and all that, and Magic Ruler is older in history as opposed to Spell Ruler, so I always invest in Magic Ruler over Spell Ruler. That's just my personal preference. I know some people say that Spell Ruler was less print, there's less quantity of Spell Ruler because of just the timing. because Magic Ruler was already on the market. But even with that, Magic Ruler is older, and in my personal opinion, older is going to be more rare to me. But that's just my personal opinion. Messenger Piece is pretty good too. Confiscation, again, all these cards you want to get first edition, really low. And a Banisher of the Light. I think I picked up some of these for I think around $2 for first edition. And there's not too many of these cards in this set in general that are first edition. Invader of the Throne. This card is definitely falling into the collector's value. There's really, really, really low qualities of this for first edition. And I just think mostly for artwork that this is, and all this stuff, it's just because of the age and how old these cards are, but more specifically for certain cards for their artwork, like Invader of the Throne, has the artwork value for collector's value. Banisher of Radiance, it's an anti-meta card. You bust this up with Moon Mirror Shield, and you're just going to be running over thing for days. You have Confiscation, which is just an all-out powerhouse ban card that's been banned forever. Plus, I really do like this old school artwork. I think it has really great artwork. It's just an old school super rare. Messenger of Peace. I mean, this is an old school stall deck card. Painful Choice, another OP ban card, as well as the Giant Tornade. And Tomb World, you know, with just the whole anime Pegasus thing in Tomb World, just this being the original print and being ancient as hell. This is a really good set to look into. I only specifically wanted to showcase the super rares because if you start to get into the ultra and secret rares, they're just ungodly expensive for the first editions. You guys can go and check that out if you want for yourself. But yeah, it's the super rares is pretty much the only thing really set specifically for this set in Magic Ruler, and for the majority of the Generation Core sets, that are really the only things left on the collector's market for first edition that you can get at reasonable prices and actually try to turn profit if you hold on to these cards. So this is something to really look in. I would really highly recommend you reviewing this set, even some of the rares, maybe some of the commons, but the majority of the current investment value, I believe, is in the super rares for this set specifically. I would definitely recommend that you guys look into, you know, the first 10, 13 sets of Yu-Gi-Oh! And find your own specific set that you want to kind of tend to and kind of lock it in from there. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. This has been a showcasing by the White Mexican. Again, I'm going to be out of commission. I'm going to my training, so I will. I don't know when I will be able to start to do videos again, but I really appreciate everything so far, and this is really fun. I love doing these videos, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you guys some future content when I have the opportunity. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Again, this has been a showcasing by the White Mexican, and I will see you in the next video.